I genuinely thought that we were done. Fisch was finally free, and it was time to move on. The story was over. It was no longer under the control of Do Big Studios, but there was a leftover feeling. There was no telling what would happen from that point on. Everybody was playing Grow a Garden, Steal a Brainrot, and all of the other top games, while Fisch was just a shell of its former self. I saw everything play out firsthand, and I just didn't think Fisch would, or even could, make a sizable comeback. Maybe a select few older players would return for a bit, but that would be it. I'm happy to say that I was wrong. Probably the most wrong I've ever been in my entire life. The absolute last thing I expected to happen was for Fisch to pull off a feat that no other Roblox game has ever done. Like, ever. It has made the biggest comeback in Roblox history. The first major shift was when Do Big Studios forfeited management of the development team to this guy, Nick, a previous contributor and player of the game. The influence of Do Big started only a month after Fisch came out, and the problems slowly began piling up. I can't even remember how many times I've had to explain this, but to sum it up, they were putting out straight trash and making Fisch feel awful to play. The people wanted them gone, and now their wishes have come true. This is where we left off before. Nick has made it crystal clear that our input matters the most, and that he was here for us. There were polls, there were questions, there was real, healthy interaction with the community. We got to choose what we actually wanted. He also claimed that all of the intrusive and predatory monetization would be cut down, and that free-to-play content would be highlighted significantly more. Thankfully, he stayed true to his word. One of Nick's first updates completely erased some of the most infamous and predatory microtransactions in this game's history. No more 64 times luck in the massively overpriced bundles, and no more rotating boat shop. They also got rid of those stupid fake discounts, which makes the shop look much more normal. I actually brought this up when I was talking to Nick, and he said that after removing them, the game's revenue was almost entirely unaffected. So this basically means that Do Big could have removed it this whole time, but kept it there for the love of the game, I guess? Nearly an entire month passed, and Fisch was beginning to get back on track, and then all of a sudden we got a little surprise. There's a chance you don't remember, but Fisch's original creator is this guy right here. He now had full ownership of the game's group, seemingly confirming to all of us that Do Big won't be having any influence over the game anymore. For good. Of course, it's still partially owned by them, so they still have the game listed on their website. But instead of actually being involved and managing it, they just own a part of it, and that's it. It's kind of like how they own a part of Grow a Garden, but they don't appear to have much influence over it. The biggest problems plaguing this game were finally solved, and these two were now leading the charge together. Update after update, it slowly began pulling more and more players in. It wouldn't be until August 30th, 2025 when a certain event would mark the beginning of a new era. But first you might need some context. Before Do Big left, they tried to put a band-aid on the whole situation they created. Everybody was sick of the slop and wanted the old Fisch back. The easiest way to give players the old feeling of Fisch back would be to make them start all over, but not completely from scratch, of course. The second C used a different currency, had different fish, and you lost access to a lot of first C features like the currency and the ability to trade and sell first C fish. This turned out to be a complete failure. The vast majority of players didn't like the second C at all, and wanted it to be purged. So on August 30th, that's precisely what Nate and Nick did. A few days later, the game shot up, and for the first time in months, it broke the 100,000 CCU barrier, something that nobody thought possible. I thought that was it. This was all it could do, because there's just no way everyone would come back. On September 13th, it went to 200,000. 1 week later, 500,000. On the week after that, it was a mere few thousand away from 700,000. Fisch's peak CCU was 850,000 from last year. If this trend continued, it was going to surpass that. On the day before its 1-year anniversary, Fisch was about to update. Everybody began to join up. And then, it did it. It matched its previous peak, but it wasn't done. 920,000, 970,000, 980, 990, and then 1 million. For some reason, the icon glitched out as soon as it happened, so it ruined my screenshot, but Fisch had finally done it. 1 million players. In the span of exactly one single year, Fisch powered to the top, hit rock bottom, and then came back even bigger than before. What in the world is going on? There's no way removing the second C was the only reason behind this. Fisch did something very simple. It was long overdue, but it finally adapted. Roblox changed a lot this past year, but Fisch never followed. While every other game was progressing, Fisch was missing the key features needed for true success. It was missing the one thing that causes Roblox games to reach such unbelievable numbers. What's the best way to summon every player from every time zone, from everywhere all around the world? If you really think about it, it's stupid that this game never had admin abuse in the first place. You do the same thing over and over, while RNG decides how successful you are. Sometimes you just get sick of that and you want a little break, or a little boost. A live event is perfect for that. It's also great for distributing special stuff that is usually unobtainable, which is what Fisch admin abuse excels at. This is what draws the numbers, and it's what the player base loves the most. Getting rare stuff is a core experience, and the admin exclusive stuff takes that even further. There's a bunch of different events that admins can start, and each one is unique. Some of them give cool stuff, and some of them are just brain rot filler. It's pretty nice when you're just playing and all of a sudden you can fish literally anywhere and get crazy stuff. 50,000 times luck and super exclusive stuff is pretty sick, especially when you're all huddled together having a little party at spawn. It's not just admin abuse either. Most large Roblox games nowadays have some form of offline progression that makes you come back every day. In Grow a Garden, your garden grows offline. In Steal a Brain Rot, money generates offline. It's so prominent now that it's become a default mechanic in pretty much every big game. Fisch didn't have anything like that. Instead, we had to grind manually, and there wasn't much to come back to, except to more grinding. Doing the exact same minigame for dozens of minutes straight is a feat not many are willing to pull off nowadays. On the other hand, a game like Grow a Garden can just play itself, while the player goes to another game. Fisch needed a solution, and a solution it found. You can put some of your most valuable fish in your personal aquarium, and they'll generate XP and coins without you having to do anything. You also get a bunch of miscellaneous items on the side that are useful in their own unique ways. If you want a much higher payout, you can stay online and reap the benefits before taking a break by going offline. During that offline break, you would still get stuff, just at a much lower rate. I would say that this turnaround is kind of amazing. It's a stark contrast from a few months ago. When Doobig was in charge, it looked a lot different. They would add secret fish that took forever to find, but you could drastically lower that time with a big expensive luck boost. And those secret fish weren't just optional either. Some were actually required to complete the bestiary, progress further in the game, and they even went as far as being the only way to unlock sprinting. There were various other things that Doobig did to get more money out of the player base, and it just went too far. It's not like that now. None of these new features or events cost a single cent. Free-to-play users are having the best time of their lives, and it all seems fine. And for the most part, it is. It's far better than it was before, but I feel different about it. I think it's too generous. The admin abuse is too beneficial, and when paired with personal aquariums, it gets nuts. I got the motivation to come back after I saw the buzz, and when I got in, I was just wandering around aimlessly. But it all changed once I attended my first admin abuse. I was catching the craziest stuff left and right, some of these items selling for a ton of money. I then discovered the aquariums. This changed everything. All of a sudden, I could just take my best admin abuse fish, throw them in my aquarium, leave the game, and come back after a couple hours, or even just AFK in the game, and I'd have enough money to get everything I would ever need. And it's not just the money. Another huge benefit of these events that I haven't mentioned yet are the insane XP boosts. Certain things in this game are level locked, but all of that basically goes straight out the window when you can just attend a couple admin abuses and reach level 1000. I attended a mere 3 to 4, and pretty much speedran the entire game. My aquarium was generating well over 1 million coins per hour, as well as a ton of XP. I thought I had it all, but it turns out that I could have been making more. Like, way more. So much more. When I found out about the aquarium's true potential, I nearly packed it up and quit. At no point does anyone in this game need 150 million coins per day. If this kept up, Fisch would turn into Grow a Garden. Like, straight up. Everybody would have too much stuff, too much money, and they would quit. Thankfully, Nick was not about to let this go too far. He nerfed the aquariums by a lot, but they're still kinda broken. Only the super overpowered ones were nerfed, while the smaller ones were left untouched. Mine didn't change at all, and you can still grind ludicrous amounts of money. Those pesky billionaires had to be taken care of though, and what better way to do that than tricking them into blowing their money on a bunch of useless trash? They actually went and made a black market admin event just to clean up the economy. Incredible. Many players set out to get the absolute best items and best fish possible, and as much money as they can. Not me though. I wouldn't say that I'm exactly an accurate representation of most players. My goal is very simple. It's to complete the bestiary once again, and that's it. I don't care about getting the best fish or the most money or anything like that. When I first attempted this, I enjoyed the progression of getting better rods as I filled out the chapters. Sometimes my rod wasn't good enough, and I had to take a break to grind for a better one. But now, I don't have to do that. I can just attend one admin abuse and use that money to go get a rod that lets me do literally everything I need. The admin abuse practically spoon-fed me all of the secrets and hard-to-catch stuff, and I never have to worry about money, or fishing rods, or enchantments, or anything ever again. I don't think it's supposed to be this way, and I don't think anyone ever thought that it would be this way. But I'm just one type of player. I'm sure there's a bunch of others out there who couldn't possibly operate on my budget, and that's what makes Fisch cool. You can do whatever you want. It's not all doom and gloom though. The updates have become pretty cool again, apart from the frequent mishaps and bugs that happen. Something that always felt missing from the game was an expansion on the fishing rod system, some type of mastery system, and now we actually have that. Certain fishing rods can be further improved by doing certain things, and you can even unlock shiny skins for them, for free. I enjoy completing some of these in my free time, and it's a nice change from using the same rod forever. It makes the bestiary completion journey just a tad more fun. And on the topic of fishing rods, these new updates often include the public release of special rods that were previously exclusive to admins and developers. The community really enjoys this, and honestly, it makes perfect sense. Something else I've grown quite fond of is the daily shop. It's right near spawn, and you can choose from a randomly generated selection of items. You can purchase stuff with coins, and the prices are heavily discounted from their usuals. If everything there sucks, or if you buy it all out, you can refresh it with coins, although only once before you'd have to spend Robux. This is a pretty great way of adding a free-to-play feature while also making some money off of the people that are willing to go just a little bit further. And funny enough, this tiny island was always here, ever since the game came out. It wasn't until months later when they decided to actually use it. For some reason they shoved an AFK zone on it a while ago, and it got removed after a single month of being out. So it's nice to see it finally being put to good use. Fisch has entered a new era. Thanks to modern Roblox ideas and some much-needed reform, it's been able to surpass itself, even after taking such a huge fall. No longer is it stuck in the past or left behind. It showed us that if a game dies, it doesn't mean that it can't ever come back. You can never rule that out. Not anymore. When it eventually does come back though, you can't expect it to be back forever. The right path has to be taken, and history cannot be allowed to repeat itself. How long will Fisch last this time? Who knows?